we've seen little or no material change in the snow conditions since my midweek snow report a few days ago. So if you haven't done so already, I'd encourage you to watch that first. But if you have, don't tune out, because I've still got plenty of useful information for you coming up. But for now at least, it's been feeling very, very summer-like. But we do still have excellent snow coverage everywhere where it's needed. But spring rules very much apply. You're finding that sweet spot typically around about 11 in the morning, maybe if you're lucky running through until the early afternoon, but then it's getting very, very sticky, very, very heavy later on in the afternoon. But we are expecting a little bit of weather to come through towards the latter part of the weekend, so stay tuned for more information on that towards the end of this video. But the main news for today's video is that the official ski season is virtually all but over now, unfortunately. This weekend, the 12th, Le Contamine, which was the last man standing in Evasion Mont Blanc, closes for the season, which means after that all of Evasion Mont Blanc will now be closed. Les Ouches, Le Tour and Flagère in the Chamonix Valley also close after the 12th. Courmayeur over in Italy, they had already closed, they closed on the 6th. As had Crans-Montana over in Switzerland, to much consternation for all the locals there, because they've still got excellent snow cover there, and it's really annoyed a lot of the businesses there, as they've had very little say in the matter. As Crans-Montana is now owned by Vera Resorts, they've just kind of come in with kind of a top-down management system and arbitrarily shut, even though snow conditions there are still great. So yeah, that's annoyed a lot of people. Back in Chamonix, you have still got at least a week to ski at Brevant. They're set to close currently on the 19th of April, and you never know, they might even extend that another week as well if conditions do stay good. And as I've been saying for quite a while now, Grandmontet are set to close on the 3rd of May, so still plenty of time to keep skiing there. Verbier are also still open until at least the 26th of April, and they have been known to extend their seasons in the past as well if snow conditions are still good, so you never know, you may well get an extra week there as well. But Brusson, they've already closed. They closed on the 6th of April, and many, if not all, of the Four Valley link-ups across the wider Four Valley ski areas, they are likely to be closing this weekend or the following weekend. So if you are out there skiing up until the last week of the season in Verbier, you won't be able to go that far across the Four Valleys resort. You would just be limited to the actual Verbier part of the ski area. And there is, of course, still the Guide du Midi, which is open virtually year-round. They only close for a few weeks for maintenance in November, so there's still tons of skiing to be had up there if you're looking for something more adventurous. But just be aware that Montenver is set to close for a couple of weeks of maintenance at the end of April. So if you are going on big adventures in May, you're going to have to either walk down to the valley or skim back up to the Guide du Midi if you want to come down. So we are very much heading into the shoulder season now, but the Chamonix region itself doesn't really have a proper spring interseason. The kind of spring ski touring, steep skiing and ski mountaineering season runs straight into the summer alpine season. There is no actual interseason at this time of year. So I guess we have had a drop in the number of people in the valley. It's not been huge, and those numbers of skiers that we have lost has largely been replaced by tourists now, so it is still very, very busy in Chamonix itself, even though the surrounding areas are now getting a little bit quieter. And it's nothing unusual to see people walking down the high street in Chamonix with skis and ice axe and everything else strapped to their back well into June, so the ski season here never really dies. And speaking of June, the Compagnie de Mont Blanc have recently released their summer opening dates, starting off with Montenver on the 17th of May, and then from the 13th of June onwards, the rest of the lift infrastructure starts to reopen again. So the Brevant Plan-Praz gondola will be first on the 13th of June, and I believe probably the Brevant cable car as well. The panoramic cable car linking the Guide du Midi over to Skyway in Italy, that was also set to open on the 13th of June, but that has now been pushed back at least a couple of weeks for essential maintenance. Then the Flagère and the Tour lifts reopen on the 20th of June, followed by the Vallorcine gondola on the 4th of July. And in Les Ouches, the Bellevue cable car is open from the 6th of June, with the Prairien gondola opening at weekends from the 13th of June and full-time from the 27th of June, largely for the mountain biking there. And of course, a handful of the lifts in the Evasion Mont Blanc ski area will be opening for their summer activities throughout late June or early July as well. But before we get too carried away with summer, it is still winter. Winter activities are still going on. Earlier this week, we saw the speed record for the Hope Route by an all-female team fall. Hilary Girardi and Valentine Faber reclaimed their record, smashing the previous record by nearly an hour in a time of 22 hours and 35 minutes from the church in Chamonix all the way to the church in the centre of Zermatt. Also, a friend of mine did it solo in about 21.5 hours this week as well. So clearly the conditions on the Hope Route must be pretty good for going fast right now. And there's been plenty of activity on the Grand Mullet route on Mont Blanc as well, and people have been putting some pretty fast valley up ascents. I'm not aware that anybody has made any attempts at the speed record just yet, but I really wouldn't be surprised. It's only a matter of time before somebody has another go, so with conditions being pretty good right now, that may well happen in the coming days as well. But irrespective of speed records, there's been probably hundreds and hundreds of people making a summit attempt on Mont Blanc with the stable weather that we've had for quite some time now. I'm not aware if anybody's made it up the Trois Monts just yet. I couldn't see any tracks there the last time I was on the Vallée Blanche, but I wasn't looking particularly hard. But there's been hundreds and hundreds of tracks visible, either all the way from the Vallée de Flore up the Grand Mullet route. So that's definitely the preferred way to be going right now. And of course, it's been all go on all the many other classic ski mountaineering objectives in the region as well. The Guide d'Argentière has been pretty busy. The likes of the Col de Passon, Brest-Puceau have seen loads of action. All the classic cols in the Argentière basin. Col de Tournoir, Col de Chardonnay, Col de Amethyst, etc. They've all been seeing loads and loads of ascents. So it's been great weather for ski mountaineering, even if the snow conditions aren't actually that great. Speaking of the weather and the snow conditions, there is a cold front moving down from the northwest throughout the latter part of the weekend, probably passing through our region at some point Sunday night. Initially, it was looking like it might get around 20 centimetres of snow around here, which would have been pretty nice, and freezing levels were forecast to be dropping all the way down towards the upper valley again, with potentially a few flakes of snow falling down to Argentière and Latour. That does now look like it's disappeared. At the most, at the moment, we're forecast to get just a couple of centimetres, so this is not the big April dump of snow that I've been promising. And freezing levels only look like they're dropping now to around about 2,000 metres, so in other words, average for a time of year, rather than the hot weather that we're having right now. So we will be seeing some weather throughout the latter part of the weekend and into the start of next week, but at the moment at least, it doesn't look like it's bringing any meaningful snow to us, unfortunately. Just at most a cosmetic dusting. So that's really not going to make any meaningful difference to the quality of the snow right now. It'll firm up for a day or two, but then as soon as the weather's passed, it'll soften up again in the sun at the start of next week. So if you're planning on coming out for a late season ski deal, for now at least, it looks like you can expect more of the same as what we're having right now. Very much classic spring snow conditions. Long-term forecasts can and will change, but for now at least, it's also looking like pretty much all of the rest of April set to be staying relatively warm, relatively dry, relatively sunny. So we can expect much more of this for the foreseeable, it seems. So that's just about it for this week's video. If you want an idea of what the conditions are like in the proper high mountains, then check out my recent Vallée Blanche video, which I did the whole run top to bottom in real time in about 40 minutes. That'll give you a good idea what the state of the glaciers are like and what the crevasses are like right now. And I've still got at least 2 more snow reports to bring you after this week's video, and I've got plenty more adventures planned in the pipeline over the coming weeks, so I may not have had a huge amount to show you in this video right now. There's still plenty more coming up, so keep watching.